Welcome to Manhwa Destiny, where we discover destiny in every page. Now, let's start the story. Once there was a boy who fell for a dragon. Picture him in a modern city, spotting a woman with long black hair. Suddenly, he flashes back to a time of fantasy, a world of adventure with dragons, demons, and more. It's a story about a boy who remembers a world full of monsters, adventures, relationships, and many more. He's ready to fight the world to keep his loved ones safe. Overcome with feelings, he comes back to reality, tears running down his face, remembering his past lives. The woman touches his face gently, saying she couldn't sleep and came back for him, bringing memories from another person. That's the tale of the Dragon Lady, and for our hero, it all began that snowy day when he first encountered her. The tale unfolds in a tranquil winter named Okian. On January 1st, amidst laughter and joy, the villagers of Okian celebrated their daily lives in peace. Every year, the villagers partake in a clandestine festival, exchanging greetings and offering prayers for blessings. Bundled in warm attire, they are drawn to a distinctive fish-shaped symbol. He recollects being the sole cook in this quaint fishing hamlet. Let's meet our protagonist, Chen Lai-tan, but we can just call him Chen, with his expressive blue hair, assigned with the ritual task of releasing Fester, an offering to the gods. Then, a remarkable sight, a colossal fish resembling a whale, known as Fester, capable of feeding the entire village. Chen's tranquility is interrupted by a man named Stian Scholar, urging him to handle the fish with care. Reassuring Stian with his confident demeanor, Chen boasts of his ability to slice Fester with his eyes closed. Despite Stian's typical nagging, Chen is determined to finish quickly and head home. Armed with a spear, Chen approaches the fish, contemplating his first move, considering the stomach. Effortlessly, he slices through the stomach, revealing a surprising sight, a black-haired woman cradling a massive sword. In awe of the woman's beauty and peaceful slumber, Chen's heart is stirred, marking the beginning of his enchanting encounter with the Dragon Lady. As the story unfolds, we find Chen's cozy wooden cabin nestled amidst snow-covered forests, where the mysterious lady recuperates. Chen and Stian attentively tend to her, observing her recovery, with Chen blushing at her beauty. Stian, perplexed by her survival within the fish, checks her breathing, finding her miraculously unharmed, albeit unsettlingly serene. Stian marvels at her improbable survival and questions how she endured within the belly of the giant fish. Furthermore, he marvels at the extraordinary nature of the giant sword she clutches. Stian and Chen entertain the possibility that the woman might not be of human origin, while it's merely a conjecture reminiscent of something he once heard during his studies in the capital. Stian instructs Chen to keep a watchful eye on the girl before stepping out momentarily. Alone with the enigmatic woman, our hero can't shake off the unease, fearing her potential non-human nature. As the door closes, leaving him in nervous solitude with the lady, Chen anxiously takes a seat beside her, hoping she remains asleep. Examining her closely, he admires her beauty, her features akin to those of a serene doll. Flushed with embarrassment, Chen imagines her waking and wonders about her appearance with her eyes open. Moments later, the lady stirs awake. He thinks of himself where he finds himself, with a rose in hand, and is taken aback by her awakening. He confesses to caring for her during her unconscious state. Graciously accepting the rose, she expresses gratitude for her rescue. Our hero, feeling akin to a knight in shining armor, blushes at the mention of being found inside the fish's belly. In a moment of joviality, he kneels before her like a prince, laughter ringing in the air. In the midst of his thoughts, our boy imagined various scenarios, albeit improbable, considering he had rescued her from danger. Suddenly, reality mirrored his imagination as the girl stirred awake, catching both of them off guard. Startled by the unexpected turn of events, Chen recoiled in fear, fearing the worst from the girl. Confusion clouded the girl's expression as she questioned his reaction. Despite his fear, Chen attempted to communicate, struggling to articulate what transpired. Unperturbed, the girl cut to the chase, inquiring about our boy's name as she gracefully settled down. With nerves still jangling, Chen managed to utter his name. Addressing him as Master Julitan, the girl then sought guidance on her own identity, hinting at a memory lapse. Baffled by her lack of recollection, Chen attempted to assist, only to find her insistence on having a name despite her forgotten past. Feeling increasingly awkward, Chen suspected amnesia might be at play. Meanwhile, Stian delved into a book concerning the girl's situation, stunned by the revelation about the tamer. His urgency mounting, Stian raced to the room, abandoning the book in his haste, realizing the potential danger awaiting Chen if the girl regained consciousness. Confirming his worst fears, Stian's terror-stricken expression propelled him to sprint towards the room. Revealing the contents of the book, it detailed the irreversible contract formed between the tamer and the shill once a name was chosen. This pact remained binding unless the tamer passed away or transferred the shill to another. Returning to Chen, he pondered the girl's memory lapse, opting to play along and suggest a temporary name until she recollected her true identity. Noticing a necklace adorned with jewels, inspiration struck, and he proposed the name Carnelian, inspired by the necklace's radiant beauty. He then proposed the name, asking if it suited her, explaining how it was inspired by the mesmerizing hue of her eyes, reminiscent of a dazzling red jewel. He praised her eyes, likening them to radiant and enchanting gems, shimmering with beauty. In response, the lady embraced her new name, Carnelian, expressing her joy and deeming it a fitting appellation. Henceforth, she proclaimed herself as Carnelian. While Chen conversed with her, Stian abruptly burst into the room, breathless, alerting them to the arrival of the contractor from the Noble Souls. A sudden gust of wind caused the window to fling open dramatically, intensifying the moment. Standing before the Noble Souls contract, Carnelian's sword runes emitted a brilliant blue glow. With unwavering resolve, she recited a solemn oath, declaring, "I, Carnelian, pledge upon this contract and my shill to serve Chen Litan, the knight, as my master." Kneeling like a gallant knight, Carnelian pledged her steadfast loyalty and readiness to defend him. Chapter 2. The story shifts and explains the world they lived in, where numerous mysteries abound, such as seals in mines, forest caves, and other parts of the world. Here, we can see the map of the world, featuring 3 cities named Garbat, Hesfarvin, and Dalkout. Certain creatures can only be awakened in response to a great force. Those brave enough to seek out these creatures are given the name Tamers, capable of forming contracts with them. Here, we see a tamer who has vowed loyalty to a great woman knight, who will play an important role in this series. Tamers have a similar appearance to humans, but they possess greater power. Tamers have many unique abilities. For instance, there's this red-haired individual who resembles Iron Man. However, they are bound by the rules set by their master. Once their tamer dies, they fall into a deep slumber. Those who have lived for thousands of years, repeatedly falling asleep and waking up, are called the shill, probably like our character Carnelian. Now, we return to our heroes. In this scene, we find Stian, visibly nervous as he recalls reading about the shills. Although he had never heard of them emerging from the belly of a fish, or being awakened by a mere cook, Carnelian was equally speechless upon hearing about it. On the other hand, we have our boy Chen, asking if he can lower his arms now. To our surprise, Carnelian's attitude toward Chen changes, despite her earlier vow to him. Chen then turns to Stian and asks if it's true that shills possess incredible powers. Stian responds, stating that shills indeed have diverse abilities, especially those who possess their own unique weapons. He reveals that shills have combat prowess unmatched by even hundreds of thousands of regular soldiers. This revelation shocks Chen, who realizes how powerful they are. Carnelian responds, indicating that she thinks Stian is underestimating her. She reveals that it's not just hundreds of thousands. Shills can bring down several nations without breaking a sweat. Essentially, she is a walking nuclear weapon. Carnelian then looks down at Chen and tells him that a mere cook like him shouldn't have awakened her. However, our hero explains that he didn't wake her up, she woke herself up. Carnelian disagrees, asserting that giving her a name is what awakened her power. Stian is confused as shills are supposed to be obedient, and he wonders why Carnelian is not. Carnelian is surprised as well, contemplating the situation. She reflects on Chen, noting that he doesn't give the impression of being a tamer at all, and she doesn't feel any resonance with him either. Chen shouts that he doesn't feel it either. This angers Carnelian, and she grabs him by the shirt, realizing that this is the problem. Stian then suggests transferring Carnelian to another strong knight. Carnelian considers this idea, finding it appealing. Stian explains that the transfer would involve another person becoming the new tamer for Carnelian. If another tamer chooses a different name, and Chen agrees, the transfer will take place. Hearing this makes our boy happy, even though he didn't understand it fully. However, he finds it as an escape from the current situation, feeling relieved to hear that. Carnelian then wonders if there's a knight in a small village. Stian tells her that there is, with a nervous expression. Meanwhile, in Bellissima, we see the man from the earlier story named Ikates, a shill, preparing salads for dinner. As he serves it to his master, a powerful blue-haired girl named Lee Dietrich, the first knight of Lysenborough, or simply Lee for short. Ikates informs his master that he felt the awakening of a shill yesterday, which felt similar to him. Intrigued, Lee asks if the two of them must know each other, to which Ikates responds that it is a shill with a painful past. He knows that it was said that her wish was not to wake up again. As the window opens, Lee takes a moment to think about that. If the shill did wake up, Lee hoped that she would find a good tamer. Returning to the next day, our hero Chen walks to the beach looking for Carnelian, and there he sees her sitting by the seashore. As he looks closer at her, he notices a sadness on her face, prompting him to call out to her. Carnelian asks if her new owner has arrived. Chen tells her that he has arrived, and her new master is now waiting for her with a lot of anger. However, Carnelian wasn't talking about the new master, she was referring to him, accepting him as her new tamer. This confuses Chen, unsure of what she means. Carnelian doesn't provide an answer as she stands up. As they prepare to go to town, she asks him if the knight is truly there because she doesn't sense any power in the town. Meanwhile, in the middle of the town, a shout is heard. Here, we see the knight or prince, brimming with anger, named Sior Casello, the successor and valiant knight, as well as the son of a local lord. He demands Carnelian to come out, while Stian tries to calm down the entitled prince, asking him to wait for a moment. However, the entitled prince shouts with anger, expressing his unwillingness to waste any more time. Stian then notices them and points to our heroes. As the prince sees how beautiful Carnelian is, he is in awe and can't believe her beauty. This annoys Chen a little, feeling irritated by the prince's admiration as if they were characters in one of those NTR hentai scenarios. The prince tries to touch Carnelian, claiming he will give her a name. Carnelian responds that her master, Chen Lai, has already named her Carnelian. This cocky prince mocks Chen, calling him an insignificant boy and stating that he is there to save Carnelian from him. This greatly annoys Chen, making him wonder if all nobles are like that. The prince then demands Chen to proceed with the transfer. Chen asks the prince about Carnelian's new name. The prince, thinking for a moment, suggests a new name for her, calling her Casella. This, of course, makes everyone cringe at how bad it is. Stian then explains that if the existing tamer agrees, the transfer will be completed. In Chen's mind, he wonders if it's really okay for him to be Carnelian's tamer, considering how bad it could turn out. Suddenly, Carnelian calls out to him and asks to proceed with the transfer, making the prince impatient. Chen feels saddened by this, thinking that a knight is better than a cook. Despite this, he agrees to the transfer. Carnelian looks down, while the prince looks at her with lust. As the prince is about to touch Carnelian's hand, she slaps his hand away with cold hatred towards him, telling him to keep his hands off her and stating that the transfer isn't working. Carnelian felt disappointed by what happened, but she accepted that she still had to go by the name Carnelian. Stian grew concerned and asked her why she didn't agree with it, and what she meant. She explained that it meant the people in charge were too sad to even do a simple switch, while looking at the chubby guy. The chubby guy got mad and confused, asking why Chen managed to wake her up. She said she didn't know either, but she was happy she didn't have to use the mean name he gave her, giving him a dirty look. This made the chubby guy mad, and he said she was being rude. He pulled out his sword and said he'd make her his no matter what. She said there was no way that would happen. The chubby guy pointed his sword at Chen and ran at him, making Chen fall down. Then he looked at Chen like he was worthless and said if he couldn't have her, he'd just take her. Filled with anger, he warned Chen that after killing him and taking her away, he would try to change her way of thinking. Chen felt nervous and scared about what might happen next. The overweight man was on the verge of attacking Chen, telling him that his life meant nothing and that he should consider it an honor to be killed by Castillo. Chen screamed for his life, bracing himself for the impending danger, but suddenly Carnelian intervened, swiftly decapitating the overweight man with remarkable speed. She executed the action effortlessly, displaying a remarkable sense of coolness. Appearing aloof yet composed, she remarked to the overweight man that if he considered dying an honor, then he should embrace it. She then turned to Chen and asked if he shared the same sentiment. Chen, still reeling from shock and fear, was visibly shaken and traumatized. He shrieked as he saw the lifeless body beside him, while Carnelian expressed frustration that her cherished sword had been stained with the blood of a despicable person. Carnelian noticed Chen murmuring with a trembling voice, realizing that she had just taken someone's life. Chen gazed at her with a horrified expression as everyone present fled the scene in fear. She clarified to Chen that if she hadn't intervened, he would have been the one to lose his life. However, Chen still struggled to come to terms with her actions. Looking down at him, Carnelian asserted that she didn't care about his disbelief because his death there would only cause more problems. Soldiers from Castillo soon arrived, shocked by what had befallen their lord. One soldier drew his sword, enraged by the harm done to their leader. He then noticed one of their own bodyguards acting peculiarly. The girl stood there, trembling and twitching it as if she is out of control. A fearsome and imposing warrior girl emerged, seemingly on the brink of unleashing havoc, posing a serious threat to our protagonists. The soldier, feeling apprehensive, shouted that it was a heartbroken and they needed to swiftly eliminate the seal. Suddenly, the girl went berserk, swiftly slicing off the top of the soldier's head, blood spraying everywhere. She continued her frenzied assault, decapitating the soldier. Another soldier charged at her from behind, attempting to strike. However, she caught sight of his movement and swiftly deflected his sword with a powerful blow. With her momentum from the parry, she then grabbed another sword and swiftly decapitated him, sending blood spraying everywhere. Meanwhile, another female warrior exhibited the same trembling and twitching behavior as the previous girl, as she held a claw. A soldier rushed at the other girl from behind, but she adeptly defended herself with her claws. The soldier was taken aback and unsure of his next move. The girl counterattacked, sending the soldier flying backward. Meanwhile, Chen and Carnelian observed the unfolding battle, perplexed as to why they were suddenly fighting each other. Carnelian explained to Chen that it was a case of being heartbroken. When a seal's owners perish, they lose control and rationality, descending into a state of frenzy. Chen inquired if there was a way to stop it. Carnelian replied that they would eventually revert to normal, but they might not survive until then. We go back to the other girl with claws, launched an assault on a soldier, slashing at him with her claws. The girl wielding the two-handed sword joined the fray, thrusting at the soldier's shoulder, inflicting pain. With her formidable strength, she ruthlessly sliced one of his arms. Both girls charged ahead, mercilessly dispatching every soldier they encountered. They stabbed, slashed, and clawed their way through the soldiers one by one. The last remaining soldier witnessed the carnage and attempted to flee across the battlefield in terror. However, he stumbled on a small rock, reminiscent of a scene from a horror movie, causing him to fall. As the soldier gazed up at the sky, he saw the Wolverine-like girl poised to strike him with her claws. Chen was horrified by the massacre unfolding before him. However, the girl wielding the two-handed sword threw one of her swords at Chen. Carnelian swiftly intercepted it, effortlessly defending him with her own sword. The two girls stood amidst the fallen soldiers, a hunger for blood evident in their expressions, as if Carnelian might be their next target. Teasingly, Carnelian remarks to Chen that it's his turn now, while Chen trembles in fear. The intense gazes and menacing auras emanating from the two girls make the situation even more harrowing. Carnelian regards them with a hint of pity. The girl with claws charges at Carnelian, who remarks that she doesn't particularly relish battling the seals. The clawed girl lunges at Carnelian with all her strength, aiming to stab her with her sharp claws. Carnelian maintains her composure as she calmly states that she has no alternative but to engage in the fight. With swift precision, she unleashes a barrage of powerful slashes toward the Wolverine-like girl using her large sword. The other girl is taken aback by Carnelian's decisive actions, leaving Chen speechless and deeply impressed by the display of skill and bravery he has just witnessed. And that's the end of this exciting new series. What's in store for the next episode? Will the Claw Girl make it through? Can the two-handed sword girl beat Carnelian? Lastly, what will happen to them after killing the prince? Tune in next time with this awesome series, and of course, as always, it's our destiny to discover new manhwa.